We've got a coolant leak on the Suburban. Well, we're going on a trip tomorrow, and I always just check all fluids and just kind of look over everything. And notice the coolant looked slightly low, and then I saw that. And I think that fitting right there is leaking. Either the fitting itself is cracked or the hose crimp to the fitting is leaking. So that is that where it splices and goes, so it goes up to those fittings, which I've replaced those before. I've actually replaced that end. I've not replaced the end that's on the hose that we need to replace, but I've replaced it, the end that's on the heater core. So I'm hoping we'll be okay. They've since I did those, they came out with metal ones of those, which thought about ordering those to have them. Wish I would have, because might would have replaced them. But we've got to get that heater hose off. We'll have to undo it right there and off the reservoir as well. And I'm gonna have to go get one, and we're leaving tomorrow. We're not leaving until about lunch, but I think I'd like to try to knock this out tonight, and then I know that I'll be good for tomorrow, then try to be doing this in the morning. So let me go see. I think AutoZone has that hose. It's like $58 for that hose. So I need to look and see if I have any rewards or coupons or anything. I could probably order it online cheaper, but we're gonna do what we need to do because we need it. And I don't want to leave on our trip with that leaking. So I'm trying to debate if I take it to the shop and do it. I think I'll be fine to do it here. I don't have my nice little tool for the clamps. I could run and get it, I guess, if I wanted to. I don't want to take the Suburban there because I don't want to get it hot. I've had it running as I was checking transmission fluid, but by the time I get the hose, it should be cooled back down. So I don't want to drive it to the shop. That's 20 minutes. But I could swing by the shop if I think I'll need the clamp, but I don't think I'll need it. I think I can just do some vice grips and do it. And I think on that one, I don't think I'll need anything for that either. I think I can push it in and squeeze the little tabs on that and pull the hose out. Should be able to. And then we can get to that one pretty easily. So let me go get a hose and some coolant. Let me see what I've got here. It's over here, I think. And that's the yellow stuff. And that's 50/50. And we've got, I guess I could look on the side. But yeah, that's a half a gallon. So I probably need 2 more things of it. We'll leave that out. We're gonna lose quite a bit, I think, doing it. So just to be safe, I'll probably grab 2. And just for the ease of doing this tonight, I'll buy the pre-diluted. I don't do that a whole lot, but I do try to keep some for, I bought that when I had the radiator leak, and I was topping it off because I needed to still drive it. It was a slow leak. So I did grab that Let me go get some parts. All right, so we are back. We got, between this, a quart of synthetic oil, STP brand, and 2 things of pre-diluted coolant. And all this, I think we were at $120 something. So, not cheap to do all this. So, they had the Dorman brand and they had the Duralast. And the Duralast is a cut to fit with molded ends, and it does not have the heater side fitting. This has a heater side fitting, but I don't think it's correct for our Suburban. They have they list 2 different ones for this. I couldn't figure out what the difference was, but I have a feeling Dorman has 2 different ones of these. I have a feeling the other one probably has a different heater hose fitting. They did not have the other one. So I got this one, but I don't think this is our correct fitting. So let me open this. Maybe I can do this one-handed. Come on. All right, let me get both hands. All right, this is supposed to be correct length for everything, and it comes with clamps. We will go ahead and use the worm clamps. I really don't have a problem with the spring clamps, but since we've got these, we'll use them. That'll make it easier to swap out and, lose the least amount of coolant, because we can quickly swap this in. Really, our only connection, the main connection we're going to lose a bunch of coolant is right here. I don't think we're going to lose much here because it's pretty high up, but yeah. I'm pretty sure that is the heater core fitting, and we need to go from the little splitter fitting that goes to the rear heat. Pretty sure this would be for one that does not have rear heat. So I did pick up this. This is the correct fitting for rear heat. This is the metal version. It's just a few dollars more. They didn't even have the plastic version. It looks like this one's been returned. I'm hoping somebody just bought the wrong fitting, but you can tell it's been mounted on some rubber hose. It's got some black on the nipple part, if you see it in there, but it's the only one they had. So I'm gonna swap that out real quick, because if you look, this is a lot bigger. That is just a completely wrong end. So we're not gonna be able to use that. Like I said, I think the other Dorman part number, I don't know what it is, but I think that one would have had the right plastic fitting on it, but we'll just take this opportunity to upgrade to the metal fitting. Let me swap that out and I'll bring y'all back to the car and we'll take a look at the car side of things. All right, these are not the best of clamps. We may change some of these out later on, but it's what we got for now. Mainly this one. This one does not feel that great, and I would assume we'll have the same feeling about this one, same clamps. Someone had some tools on this one and then returned it, but it looks like the fitting itself is okay. Well, it is what it is, I guess. And the reason I was messing with these clamps, I was just making sure they were tight, and then I reorientated this one because it was flipped over backwards, so that'd be kind of hard to get to. It sits in there like this. I kind of wanted it where I could get to it if I needed to, not change it, but tighten it or anything. But you can see, it's once the clamps start kicking over to the side like that, I don't feel good about them. But it is what it is. I considered taking this one and putting it here, but it's the same clamp. It's probably going to do the same thing. And using the spring clamp here, reusing it. But I think it'll be okay. But it's on our list of, we should probably get some clamps for those. And was right, that definitely is larger. So let me get a light and we will go over there. I've got this big it's an under bed storage thing, but I'll just use it for a big pan. So that's going to work perfect to catch all of our coolant that falls. But I'm going to need some light here now because it's getting later. And I think we'll start by trying to undo that fitting. That's the scary part of this, is messing with, actually, yeah, we'll do that first. And just be careful not to disturb that one and try to get that undone. So if we look at our other one, I think if we pinch this, we should be able to slide it out. I think I might have a tool at the shop that slips in here, but I think we can just pinch them and it should come out. Should. So I'll set up some time lapse and y'all can watch me struggle gently with this, try not to break anything. Get that guy, and this should get us what we need. And we'll start with the top fitting, get that undone, because that's our can of worms. That's the part I'm dreading the most. So let's just get that over with, and then we'll probably, I don't know what order, we'll probably do this part last, the one that goes on the engine. Alright, I'll bring y'all back in real time for the last piece of this. I'll get my light where we can both see. Camera actually can see better than I can as far as light. I don't remember how this hose, let's see, it routes here. It's a little on the long side, but we will leave it. When I say a little on the long side, it's not that much on the long side. So I pulled the plastic fitting off of it. The clip part of it, we'll use the one that came with the new one. So we're just gonna shove this in. And like I said, you gotta be real careful with these. I probably should put some WD-40 on it. I think that's all the way. So we'll leave it at that, and then pop it in this little clamp, and that's it. I will show y'all, I guess. As far as the plastic fitting there, like I said, I replaced it a few years ago, the white one and the black one. The white one on your right, it's a T fitting that goes to the rear heat. And yeah, I'm looking at it, that fitting that goes on the heater core is much bigger. So to be honest, that's probably why this heater hose is slightly long, because it's meant to go all the way back to the firewall to plug into the heater core. I'll show you the hose. It's not long enough that, not too long enough that makes me want to redo it and shorten it. So we'll leave it as is, but I'll try to find that other Dorman part number You saw the one that I had for this, the part number. I'll try to find the other part number and put it in there, because that's probably the right one. But I'd kind of rather have this metal fitting anyway, because eventually I think I'll change all of them out to the metal fitting. So let me show y'all, get y'all mobile. We'll just continue on the GoPro. And I did loosen the coolant reservoir just in case there was some pressure. To be honest, we probably could have left it on there and it might would have leaked less. Now this is the time to probably change all of them out, but we're just doing what was leaking for now. Like I said, I leave in the morning. Well, not in the morning. I leave at noon tomorrow. It's about a 3-hour drive. So not too far, but far enough we did not want to go with it leaking. And we'll maybe look at the other one and see if we could tell where the failure was. So from what I can tell, I don't want to be too rough on the fitting, but it feels like it has slipped all the way on there. And it comes down. You can see we've got just a little more. It would have hugged, you can see where it kind of rubbed against this other heater hose before. It would have hugged this hose a little tighter. So it's probably about 2 inches too long, but, and then down there, and I did check all their clamps to make sure they were tight. And then our reservoir right in there. So I'm going to top off the coolant. We can look in our tray, see how much we lost, but we probably lost at least a gallon would be my guess. And I tried to plug this so it didn't leak all of it out as I was pulling the old hose out and putting the new one in. I think that did work out well, undoing it here and there first, those two first, because the majority of the coolant that we could lose would be in the radiator, you know, draining from the engine and the radiator out there. You know, we didn't have a whole lot in the reservoir, it was already low. So anyway, all right, let me get that. We'll take a quick look at it, see if we can tell anything on it, and then I'll top off the coolant and we'll be done. We'll take it for a drive and check for leaks. And on this trip, I will pack whatever extra coolant I have. We will throw that in the Suburban just in case. All right, so it was wet right in that crack right there. I can't really say crack. It was, if I recall correctly, it was wet right in here. There's a shoulder right here for the hose. So I don't think it was the hose that was leaking. I think this plastic is probably either seeping, it's got a little crack in it, hairline crack, and leaking would be my guess. The hose itself is still pretty pliable, even the heater hose. So I guess it's possible the plastic clamp failed, but I'm gonna guess. Wonder if we put it in a bind, if it'll. Yeah. And that was not hard to break. I pretty much did that one-handed with another one to sturdy it. But yeah, that was why you don't go 22 years on plastic in a cooling system. That was really close to doing that on the road. All right, well, technically we probably could have just replaced that metal, or bought a T. They had a metal one there, but it was like 30 something bucks, I think, and I could buy the whole T with. Now it did have the one we bought has a plastic fitting here, but the metal one kind of looked like it was a cast, some kind of cast aluminum maybe. And I would almost bet somebody makes a stainless steel fitting for this that would probably be a good upgrade for these. So we may look into that and swap it out later and put some better quality clamps here, maybe at the time that we do the other hoses, or if we do the other fittings they make. Go back to the car real quick. I did top off the coolant and I'm just kind of letting it bubble its way down. But when I did these fittings quite a few years ago, I don't think they had a metal version of them, and I don't remember if mine were leaking. I feel like they had started to drip, and it may have been after I did the valve cover gasket over here that, you know, maybe I disturbed it or something, but I feel like some fitting over there started to leak, and I went ahead and replaced both of them. And I remember doing both. They were a pain to do because the metal lines there that go to the rear heat, they just don't want to flex much, so it's kind of hard to get them in there. But I don't think they had a metal version, or if they did, I didn't know about it. It wasn't like they carried it in the parts store on the shelf, because I went back with Dorman plastic fittings. They've been fine. They haven't leaked. You know, you just saw we were able to undo the fitting for this heater hose and get that new fitting on, and it seems to have survived, but they're probably getting a little old, so we probably need to think about changing those out at some point. And like I said, the other coolant hoses on here probably need to be done. They're still pliable, but they probably just need to be done. So all right, I think that's gonna do it. I'm gonna top off the coolant again and then take this thing for a drive, and I will check it for leaks, make sure we don't have any drips, you know, clamps that are leaking or that fitting there leaking, and then top the coolant off again, and hopefully we're good for our trip tomorrow. So I've got it running with the radiator cap off, and we're just going to let it warm up here in the driveway and make sure the thermostat opens and we can top off the coolant before we go for a drive. But I wanted to mention something I kind of forgot about that I should have done, is put this piece on first. And what you can do is there's a shoulder. So if you imagine this is the part that's on the sticking out of the heater core, it's not going to have a nipple there, but just imagine this being completely smooth. It's got a shoulder about, you know, an inch in, and what that does is this slips over it. Of course you can't, but it goes over it kind of like that, and then that shoulder gets caught behind these clips. But the clips also catch the inside of the fitting. And you can't really see it on this one, but that little window cutout it catches that on this part. See that raised edge there? That catches the hose part, and then the heater core part, the heater core fitting part, gets trapped behind here. So it actually sits, that ridge in that fitting sits right there. I should have slipped this on first, and we could have made sure that it was slipped all the way on. That's how you should do it. That is not how I did it, but I think it's got the better of me, I think, and I'm gonna go do it because it's bothering me. So I'm gonna go shut it off. I wasn't gonna do it until I started talking about it just now. I'm fairly certain it slipped on there all the way, but it's bothering me, so I'm gonna pull it off and redo it. And I'll probably regret that because I'll probably break something and be like, why didn't I just leave it alone? But yeah, that's me. I won't be able to sleep tonight. I didn't do this the correct way, and I'm fairly certain it slipped on there, but we don't know for sure. Well, I had an idea. Before I undo that fitting, let's get y'all in there and see if we can actually just see that it's behind that. All right, there we go. And it's behind it. You can see. Okay, we're good. You can kind of see how that is. And like I said, if you put the little clip part, slip that on there first, you can be sure that it clips, because then you can verify that the clip part goes on all the way. You'll be able to see it slip over that shoulder. And then when you push your fitting on there, you just push it on until it clips into the clip. And then you're sure it's done. Now, I left the clip in the fitting and slipped it on there. And when you do that, you can't see in there easily. We just saw with the camera, but with your eyes, you can't get in there and see to make sure that clip slipped over that shoulder, if that makes sense. Just wanted to throw that in there. All right, I feel better. So let me start this thing back up and get it up to temperature. All right, I just wanted to add this in here real quick. This is the other hose that they showed. They listed both for my Suburban for whatever reason, and I didn't see any notes, and they didn't have the other one. If you look on this one, it does say with auxiliary heater. Looking through the app, I should have checked it. I should have done that before I went, but they didn't even have this one. But I could have went to one a little further away and got this one. Not to say that the pictures are always correct, but it does look like it has the right fitting. I'm assuming the fitting on the end that we had to change out is correct. But the other thing I like about this one, it has spring clamps. Now, Dorman spring clamps, maybe they're not the best. I have no idea. Wasn't crazy about these worm clamps. They're not the best quality. But the other thing in this picture I see is it has the metal T, and ours is plastic. So I'm not going to change it out. We are not redoing this job. The plastic one will be fine for now, but I will probably at some point order. I've already found it on Amazon. I can get them for like $13, just a no-name brand. Or I can get the Dorman one if I want to do that. But yeah, I can get it. So we will probably change it out at some point. Like I said, I'm going to revisit this. I'm going to put better clamps on it, and we'll probably change out that plastic fitting for an aluminum one. But chances are, if you're doing this and you have rear heat, order the correct Dorman part, or go, order it, or it's going to be cheaper if you get it online. And judging by the pictures, it looks like it has spring clamps and the metal fitting. Now, you may get it and it may be the plastic fitting, who knows. But I wish I would have known that before. I should have done some research before I just left and went to the parts store. I was just in a hurry trying to save some daylight. But I should have done the research before I went and got the part, and I would have known, and I would have seen what the difference was between them, and I could have found a parts store that had it in stock. So that's it. Now we will end this video. Thanks for watching. leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and subscribe for more.